I want you to picture a scene with me. The evening before, Jesus had fed somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 people. That's the number, if you count the women and children, that the gospel doesn't number, with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. By the time darkness came, the crowd wanted to crown him king by force, and he withdrew. They woke up the next morning, realized he was gone, got into boats, and crossed the Sea of Galilee to find him. And when they found him, he told them exactly why they came. That context is everything for understanding what he says next. John 6, verse 35. And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth in me shall never thirst. This is the first of 7 I am statements in the Gospel of John. And in those 7 statements, Jesus uses a Greek phrase, eimi, that carries enormous weight in the Jewish tradition. We'll come back to that. But first, I want to show you the 10 verses that come before this one, because they completely reframe what Jesus is actually doing. To understand who Jesus is talking to, you need to understand what bread meant in the first century Galilee. This was a subsistence economy. Most people were tenant farmers or day laborers. You didn't have a pantry. You ate what you earned that day. Bread wasn't a side dish. It was survival. So when Jesus fed 5,000 men, plus women and children, with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, this wasn't just a miracle. It was the most economically significant thing most of these people had ever seen. Which is exactly why they followed him the next morning. And Jesus knows it. Look at verse 26. He says, Ye seek me, not because ye saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves, and you were filled. He doesn't ease into this. He names it directly. You're not here because you believe. You're here because you ate. And then, from that completely honest straight point, he says, I am the bread of life. And now for the I am declaration. When Jesus says, I am the bread of life, the Greek is eimi, the same phrase that the Greek translation of the Old Testament uses when God tells Moses his name at the burning bush. I am that I am. John uses this phrase 7 times in the Gospel. Every single time, the audience would have heard that echo. This is not a humble metaphor. This is a direct claim. And Jesus reinforces it by invoking manna, the bread God sent from heaven to feed Israel in the wilderness. The crowd actually brings this up first in verse 31. Our fathers did eat manna in the desert. They're comparing Jesus to Moses, and Jesus corrects them. Moses didn't give you that bread, my Father did. Now my Father is giving you something that doesn't just sustain you for a day. It satisfies you completely. This is Illuminate Gospel Insights, a Bible study app I built for the 4 Gospels. Tap any verse and you'll get a historical context behind it, the theological reflection, and cross-references, all in one place. It's free to download, and there's a one-time pro unlock for the full library. Links are in the description. Here's the question Jesus is really asking the crowd, and maybe asking us. What are you here for? Think about the last time you opened a Bible and prayed, or looked for God. For a lot of people, it's in the hard season. The job fell through, their relationship ended, the doctor said something that you weren't ready to hear. And you came to faith, or back to faith, because you needed something. You were hungry. That's not a disqualifier. The crowd was hungry too, and Jesus didn't turn them away. He fed them first. But then he asked them to stay for a harder conversation. What if there's something here beyond what you came looking for? What if the thing you're seeking is actually a sign pointing towards something that doesn't run out? That's not a rebuke. It's an invitation. And the fact that he issued it to people who were literally there for free food, I find that extraordinarily generous. John 6:35. The crowd that followed Jesus across the lake looking for breakfast. The I am declaration that echoes Moses at the burning bush, and an invitation to start exactly where you are, even if where you are is hungry. Illuminate Gospel Insights is a free to download on iOS and Android with a one-time pro unlock for the full content library across all 4 Gospels. Links in the descriptions. New videos every week. Subscribe so you don't miss out. And I'll see you next time.